Hi everyone and welcome to Trinket Corner. Today we are going to make these adorable little mermaid babies or merbabies in a seashell. I start by applying a thin layer of transparent UV resin into a fishtail mold. When the first layer was cured, I started adding color: green, purple, and blue. I cured it under the lamp and added another layer of transparent resin. Now I dropped some fish scale looking glitter. When the backside is completely dry, I take it out of the mold, turn it, and cure again. This is how the future mermaid's tail look like. I used air drying clay to make the top part of the mermaid. This is a silicone mold to make a little angel, but I'm going to use only the top part of this mold. I mixed air drying clay with PVA glue and sort of pressed it into the mold. You have to push really hard to get into all the nooks and crannies, especially if your mold has so many details. It took me several tries to get a precise figurine. I carefully cut the excess part while it was still wet and put it aside for 24 hours to dry. When it was fully dry, I trimmed the edges with X-Acto knife. I also gave it a little trim because I was going to add new hair. I connected top and bottom using hot glue. I didn't mind the backside to be ugly because I was going to glue it to the seashell anyways. I untwine a thick cord that consists of several thin threads and use them to make a wig for my merbaby. After gluing on the curls, I give them a trim with scissors. Using the same mixture of air drying clay and PVA glue, I make another figurine. I had a little bit of air drying clay leftovers, so I decided to make tiny seashells to decorate the big seashell. Only this time, instead of the tail, we're going to use a seashell, and this one is going to be a boy. Then, with utility knife, I cut the legs of the figurine to replace them with another seashell. I gently pressed the seashell so it looks like the continuation of the body. I decided that my little mermaid needed some hair accessories, so I used a little dry flower that was meant for nail decoration. I used UV resin to fix the flower in place, and I also applied a thin coat of resin over the flower to protect it. When the figurine was dry, I trimmed the edges with X-Acto knife. Now it's finally time for painting. I applied a base coat over both babies. And then emphasized darker parts with pink color. I connected the seashell and figurine with hot glue. Then I added color to their hair. And colored the seashells. I used brown as a base and then, using dry brushing technique, applied off-white. I made the carcasses of the bigger shell using my 3D pen. This was my first experience with a 3D pen, and I quite liked it. It takes a little time to get used to it, but once you get the grasp of it, it's pretty easy. I also discovered that if you make a mistake, you can always cut it with scissors and redo it. Okay, I will try to explain you how I made the seashell. I made a large circle. Then I made several arcs. I connected the arcs in one spot on the circle, and the other ends of the arcs I connected around the circle to make the base. Then I made smaller arcs to connect the edges of the bigger arcs together. And because I didn't need the base circle anymore, I cut that circle out. Next, I filled in the gaps between bigger arcs. The color didn't matter because I was going to paint it over anyways. My seashell ended up looking like a net, and I didn't want that, so I used hot glue to fill in the gaps. Then I covered it with white gesso. I covered the inner surface with paper towels and watered down PVA. I waited 24 hours before painting it. I used the real seashell as a reference to know how to paint it correctly. The colors I mainly used were beige, brown, pink, and white. Glued some moss on the bottom of the seashell and covered it with some watered PVA. When PVA was dry, so was the moss, and it would never fall off. It was time to glue the magic babies. Unfortunately, the tip of my mermaid's tail fell off. But I glued it where it's supposed to be and covered with a small seashell to hide the brim. To make the whole thing prettier, I glued the smaller seashells I made earlier, and I also added several colorful pearls. I glued metallic legs onto the seashell to make it sturdier, and the project was ready. Now you can see the final result, my cute mermaid babies in a seashell. If you stick until the very last moment, you can see a sneak peek of my next project, which also involves a magical baby. Thank you guys for watching, and see you soon!